express that, and that the frustration
And we
point
also
is,
want you to know just that this is important for families, but it's important for the country. To be stronger, we need the workforce, we need the contributions to the Social Security system. Everything, all studies have shown that legalizing the population will help the economy. And it will boost jobs, and it'll boost taxes paid, and it's just the most positive thing we can do to get this country running again.
And to continue the narrative that Dave shared, I myself was also an immigrant who came here when I was 6 years old with my mother, and we moved actually to Southern California first before settling in the Bay Area. And while I thought I was just going to go to Disneyland for a vacation, it actually became a stay up until now. However, during my time here in the U.S., I was undocumented for 13 years of my life. And I think it's with that narrative that I come here today, sitting in your office, and sharing the importance of why something needs to be done. For my situation, 13 years of my life where I had no health care, no type of social services, and a single mother to care for me during that period was a difficult moment in my life. And I knew at a very young age that we were not welcome here in the U.S. So I understood and still understand what it's like to live in the shadows here in the United States. And moving toward the trajectory of life, I did turn to my education and saw that as a tool to really turn to in the middle of all this chaos of being undocumented. And it's with my education that I used to gain my voice in this movement as a former dreamer, as a dreamer who spoke, one of the very first dreamers who spoke out in a publication that UCLA produced. And really, I'm coming to this office with the privilege of no longer being undocumented, because at the age of 19, I was legalized while I was at UCLA in Southern California. And so, looking back at that experience and having that be part of my narrative, part of my life, I think it's just something that this office needs to realize, that for some who are able to transition out of that, it still becomes a painful experience, that we as former undocumented immigrants still are rebuilding our lives. And for those that are still currently in that status, still facing the lack of social services and lack of government services to help them, because many of them are from low-income families, it creates a pain that I don't think will be rectified anytime soon. So I think what this office can do is really fix that by finding a solution through legislative means, and that's what I'm asking here today.
And I immigrated with my parents and my family from Colombia, and I wanted to share with you how different the immigration system is, and the stories that Dave and Angelo have shared about them being undocumented. I was privileged enough not to have to go through that, because when we immigrated in the 1970s, we had an immigration system that actually was working. And my father came first. He was recruited by a textile factory, and he came to work in the textile factories. And the immigration system at the time actually allowed him, with his visa, to petition for my mother and my siblings and me. So I was actually able to come with a green card. That's no longer the case. Any temporary worker in California right now, whether they're working in the fields, in factories, even in high-tech industries, they're coming with temporary visas and can't be reunited with their family members. With my family, we were able to come here, we came with green cards, and every single one of my siblings, I'm the youngest of 10,
okay, no problem.
We are all contributing to this country. I have teachers in my family. I have a sister who was a high school dropout because the public school system was so bad. She's a biochemist today, working on cures for cancer. I have, brothers who are business owners, who are general managers at corporations, who are working on leukemia, who are physical therapists. We are all contributing, and this is what every immigrant family wants. The same thing that my family has been able to do at a time when our immigration system worked. We want that for all, and I know that Representative Rohrabacher has got to want that as well, that as Californian residents who are victims of this broken immigration system, that they should be able to contribute to our state and to our country as well.
Yeah, exactly. We were working.
It's hard to imagine California without the help of an immigrant
The White House.
in terms of harvesting the food, in terms of the high-tech industries. I mean, it's necessary for the well-being of the
Are you
state.
gonna have a?
And they've really helped turn the state around economically.
Like that.
You know, this afternoon when we leave here, we're going to be joining fasters who are on the law. I don't know if you've heard about the families, the Fast for Families. There have been people
I haven't
who've
heard
been,
that.
Okay. And
yeah,
then we'll
there
go
have been
from
people
there
who've
as
been
soon as he
fasting
sends it
for
to you,
over
and
22
I'm
days.
gonna go from
We've got congressmen and
Alright.
senators who are actually
Thank
today,
you,
the two
Mr.
senators
McConnell.
from New Jersey are
Not a
fasting
problem.
as well. And all of us, you know, I think we
Okay.
all have fasted as well. I've fasted for 24 hours, a couple of different days over the last couple of weeks. And we're all doing this as a tiny little sacrifice to show the nation that there's a moral crisis in this nation. The fact that we have civil rights leaders, we have Representative John Lewis, you know, out there. We have, you know, the grandson of former President Kennedy, who took over the fast as well. I mean,
Okay.
this isn't about some undocumented immigrant who is kind of invisible. This is about people who are part of our society, the fabric of our society. All of us are contributing. There is a reason that people from across all sectors of society, the business community, conservative faith groups, the high-tech industry in California, the agricultural industry in
Law
California,
enforcement?
law enforcement agents. I mean, there is a reason this broad, diverse coalition has come together to ask Representative Rohrabacher and his colleagues in Congress to do the right thing. This is one of our greatest civil rights issues of our nation at this time, and we need a vote in 2014. Inaction is just not acceptable.
I have your information. As you guys have pointed out, I've heard your stories. So I'll do the best I can to relay this to my boss.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Are you from the district?
I am not.
I'm gonna stay here for a while.
Okay. I'll allow you to do what you gotta do. I still have to work as well. So I'm gonna step away here for a minute.
Thank you for listening.
No
We
problem.
appreciate that.
Okay.
Every day, 1,100 people are deported.
Because Congress has not addressed the immigration crisis.
Because you have not addressed the immigration crisis.
Because your lack of action impacts real people, real families, moms and dads.
Children and grandparents, you are destroying our community every day of 2013.
That you have not acted. Families have been torn apart.
A majority of Americans agree with immigration reform.
Get to work in 2014.
We will fight to win in Congress and at the voting booth.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking a ribbon of highway, I saw above me an endless skyway. I saw below me a golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking, I saw a sign there, and that sign said, no trespassing. But on the other side, it didn't say nothing. Now that sign was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. In the squares of the city, in the shadow of the steeple, near the relief office, I see my people, and some are grumbling, and some are wondering if this land's still made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. We shall overcome. We shall overcome.
Would you like it removed?
Yes,
We shall
Somebody willing to be a complaint?
overcome
Sir,
someday.
are we willing to be a complaint if this goes to
Yes,
court?
yes.
Alright. Guys, it's your one and only opportunity to leave, or I will arrest you.
I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved.
And we've done that too. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. What is your name?
Chanting in the hallways disturbing the peace, so that's
Sorry about that.